Hey friends, it's your pal Mike Shea from Sly Flourish, here with another episode of Sly Flourish's Lazy GM Prep. In this weekly show, I go through steps from Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master while preparing for my Sunday role-playing game. In this case, I am running a homebrew Midgard campaign set in the Midgard setting from Kobold Press, using Tales of the Valiant, the 5e system, the 5e home system, house system of Kobold Press. This show, like all of the work of Sly Flourish, is brought to you by the patrons of Sly Flourish. Patrons get access to all kinds of tips, tricks, tools, scenarios, adventures, a exclusive podcast, and all kinds of other things for being patrons. They also get to join the awesome Lazy GM community over on our Discord server, and they help me put on shows like this. To the patrons of Sly Flourish, thank you so much for supporting my work. So we didn't have a game last week. It was the holidays. We're in the middle of the holidays. I wasn't even sure if we're going to have a game this week, but we have at least 3, maybe 4 people today. And I said, you know what? 3 is fine. I will run with 3. We're not at like a vital moment in the campaign, and we can enjoy, even if we only have 3 people, we can enjoy that. So it looks like we're going to have 3. I think we're certainly going to have 3. We may have 4. And then I know we're not going to have more than 4. So the 15th was our last session. And they faced Erez Dawngaze, a half-dragon Akinji commander of Adasha of the Burning Sands. So there are 3 dragon rulers over the main area. There are 9 dragon rulers over the Dragon Empire, but we're going to focus that down to 3 of these dragon rulers, known as the Morza. All of them are known as the Morza. There are 3 Morza we're going to focus on, one of which is Adasha of the Burning Sands. I actually did a little bit of homework yesterday and did some front development of these 3 dragons and who they are and what they want and where are they and what quests are they going on to fulfill their goals. So we're going to look at that a little bit today. Kind of a nice way to sort of like look on the horizon and be like, what are the big shifting clouds on the horizon and how are they moving around and how can those quests that these groups are going on matter? And it matters because the dragon, the what are we calling them? But I really need to keep the list in front of me because I forget all the time. And it's the rankings of the class hierarchy of the Dragon Empire is important and something I want to continually reiterate. And I always remember the first 2. Here we go. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna make a new note. And we're going to call ranks of the Dragon Empire. And we have the Morza, the 9 dragons, the Urmanli, who are the governors, the Tamarli, who are the scaled nobles, the scaled noble class, the Sekban, who are the scaled citizens, and the Jambuka, known as the jackals, the non-scaled folk. I'm going to add one more rank to this, which is the military rank. And these would be like the soldiers, the military commanders of the Morza, or the military commanders of the Dragon Empire. And they are called, let's see, we're going to go into our table of contents here, up over to the Midgard book. And we're going to go to Dragon Empire. And we're going to look for that rank. Koboldi are workers. We're kind of skipping them. We're putting them among the Sekban. We're going to remove the elemental families, the Egypt as well. We can bring those in as fun ones, but the Akinji. So the Akinji is like the soldier. They're like the officer class. They're probably the scaled warrior class. So there. Now we finally have our rankings in a separate page that I can go and refer to because I forget all the time. So they met and battled with, in the last session, a half-dragon Akinji that I just searched all that time to find Akinji, and then I had it in my notes. An Akinji commander of Adasha named Erez Dawngaze. Erez Dawngaze was commanded by his Morza, or whoever, probably the governors, right, or the governors or office or nobility sent Akinji out into the desert specifically to Kukumtara, the city that has been ravaged by the Kandarians, to go find artifacts. Now, what's interesting is I want to make it clear when the characters are dealing with different dragon rulers that they have different ways that they operate and different goals. And I think that like Adasha of the Burning Sands is all about strength and fire and like directness. Not a lot of subtlety, probably the most draconic of the dragon rulers because he like lives in fire. He wants the world to burn. He's very direct. So his followers thus are almost always like fire-based dragon types. And they are, not a lot of subtlety, not a lot of like intricacy, but very direct. So that means when they face dragon ruler, followers of Adisha, we'll see this. Having the dragon rulers act differently matters to me. It's something that I want to do. So keeping track of like who are the three Morza that are really in charge and what's going on with them, I think is going to have a big place. Anyway, they faced Erez Dongaze, defeated him, killed him, and then moved on. And they have begun to move through the city. They met some priests. They took a rest. I think like in the scenes that took place, all this kind of happened. They took a rest. They leveled up. I think they're 4th level now. I think they're 4th. I don't remember. I'll have to ask them. Then they did face a bloody orb in the Sanguine Path. So they found members of the Sanguine Path, these blood mages, conducting a terrible ritual. The blood mages were like, "Oh, you caught us. I guess we're gonna have to kill you now." And then they fought them and defeated them. And then they got to the Pit of Unending Thirst, where they faced their first Grey Thirster. And the Grey Thirster is that's the end of the session that they did in the beginning of the next. So this whole session is going to be delving, it's pretty straightforward, nice straightforward dungeon delving into the Pit of Unending Thirst, which is the big dungeon that we're going to have today. So we're going to create a new note from our template. We have our Dragon Empire template. And the characters today, Cal is not there, Gaudenzia is there, Tolstoy is there. Amavin, I think, is going to be there. Rowan, I don't think is there. Yeah, Rowan is not going to be there. So these are the 4 characters that may be there. If we take a look, so Amavin is a rogue. I now can kind of remember who they are. So we have Amavin, who is a rogue spy, who I think I got kicked out, if I recall. Didn't get kicked out, but is kind of like on the run almost. Cosmopolitan wrote, raised as an orphan to be a spy for the Dragon Empire, but fled after some event under the wing of Master Kiprik. So a fun bit of, I think there's an Amavin thing, which is aware of the spy network of the unseen. So the 3 Morza, we have Adisha, the Lord of Gizmiri, who is the Heart of the Desert. We have Parsis the Hidden. So Parsis the Hidden is the more subtle of the dragons. I don't know how this is going to play out in the next session. I don't think it is. There isn't a name for this spy network that I know of, but I gave them a name. And I'm going to call them the Hidden Eye. So Parsis, so we could take a moment here and take a look at the notes that I put together for the fronts, which I did yesterday as sort of homework, which is who are the 3 Morza that are under control right now. And what was it? So Adisha had a different name that I used. The Adisha of the Burning Sands. So we're going to use that. So we have Adisha of the Burning Sands. And I described Adisha as being like the most draconic of dragon rulers, a fire dragon that wants, and I made a goal, wants to watch the world burn, like literally watch the world burn, seeks to turn Midgard into an offshoot of the elemental plane of fire, seeks the ancient knowledge of the world to do so. So isn't doing so directly, but is looking for ancient magic to essentially turn the world into a crispy critter. And so I came up with a few steps that Adisha wants to do. Acquire the Krazet, I made a name up, like Krazet's Sunborn Staff of Fire, that somewhere out there is a Staff of Fire that this dragon ruler wants. Open the hidden gateway to the Dragon's Coil, which is a ley line of the Maradi, and which is located in the ruins beneath Sayaz. So there's a ruins there, and they want to open up that the agents of Adisha want to open this gateway, and then connect it to the elemental plane of fire in the city of Brass, and then forge a pact with the Afridi lords of the city of Brass to build a new army able to defeat not only the enemies of the Maradi, but also subjugate all of the other Morza as well. I don't know how to spell subjugate. Hey, look at that. So then we have Parsis the Hidden, the ruler of Betek, master of fields and clouds, wisest of the lords, lord of chains. And I copied text out of the Midgard book to drop into my notes here so I have some more detail on them when I want to kind of dig into them. But Parsis the Hidden is very much sort of a spy and conductor of military tactics, takes a direct hand in ruling over his area, and often shapeshifts into other creatures, including both scaled and unscaled folk. So he could be kind of anyone and anywhere. And has a spy network. And in it, they require the Marathi spy network with a Ka Vizier Zeki Hassan al-Eski, and has a overt group known as the Golden Circle. But they didn't name this spy network. So I'm naming it the Hidden Eye, Vizier al-Eski's spy network. And it could kind of be fun that our character was maybe like a recruit of this spy network or wanted to go into the spy network but broke free. So that could be fun. So Parsis's goal is to be the eye of the storm. Parsis knows that it's been a couple hundred years that the alliance of the Morza has taken place, but that can't last. The egos of these dragons are definitely going to go against each other. And So Parsis wants to be at the center, the invisible center of the strife that surrounds the Dragon Empire, including both the external battles that are taking place, but also internally as the dragons fight one another, which will inevitably occur. Parsis always wants to be in the center of that, which also means making sure that no one side too easily dominates the others, right? That if there's tension among all of the dragons, he will be in a better spot. So his steps, so his goal is to be that eye of the storm, right? And like if the whole falls, he wants to be on top, right? He wants to be, fine. He also apparently has a bunch of hidden children. So I thought that would be kind of another fun angle. And it could be a potential angle that the characters can get involved in, is like, hey, maybe he wants the characters to smuggle his children out of the Dragon Empire and into Nurien Natal. That could be a fun thing later on. So his goal is to create an eye in the storm of the wars eternal to the Marathi, and also the internal strife that's soon to come, and build a personal empire able to withstand the collapse of the Marathi. So as the Dragon Empire collapses, he wants to maintain his spot. He wants to infiltrate fellow Morza, infiltrate the commanding the rulers of these other Morza with members of the spy network known as the Hidden Eye. He wants to gain leverage against each of the Morza to continually create tension wherever that tension needs to be in order to make sure that he stays and remains in the center. And he wants to send his favorite offspring to safe areas of Midgard, including the north, so probably Nurien Natal, but also probably the Crossroads, which is, what's the name of the city? And the north. And maybe the south and the deep south, right? And I don't know exactly where that'd be. So that would be his. Anyway, that is Parsis, the hidden ruler of Batek. And so then we have Ibelin the Illustrious, the ruler of Mizar. Ibelin is the one who is establishing the trade route with Nurien Natal that the characters have hijacked. Ibelin is an undead dragon covered in gold and jewels. It used to be a gold dragon, but now is an undead dragon that's covered in gold. That's like molten gold scales made from, coins and gemstones and everything else, and shines as bright as a sun when the light hits them. But he's kind of dying, or, he's dead and undead, and his, souls are there. So he has this sort of very beautiful, illustrious empire and this illustrious visage, but underneath it is all death and decay, including undead, and including a need to continually fill his soul vessel with souls to keep his own body going. So I think that that's a goal. So I think the goal is, I'm going to change, I wrote a goal, but I think I'm going to change it a little bit of, fuel a vast soul vessel. So Ibelin can become a draconic god of death, the Dragon Lich Emperor of Midgard. So a massive soul vessel could be a good one. That way we got I always like, having undead have a good angle is always a good one. And then the steps are acquire forbidden magics of lost necromancy. So they could be, and blood magic kind of falls into this, like blood and death magic. So hire the sanguine path to acquire forbidden blood and death magic. Right? So I think like they could be doing it, that agents of Ibelin are doing this on the sly, but I think this could actually relate into the next session we have, because they could find out that the Sanguine Path, who they're dealing with, are actually hired agents of Ibelin. Defeat and subjugate Sethrem Alasan at Iram, the city of lost pillars, and command the shades of the field of the lost army in the Sarkland desert. Build a soul vessel for Lord Baal, and discover God King Aten Akman's secret of the Black Spire, and use it to invade Nirya Natal and raise the four blue dragons that were defeated by Aten Akam. I'm going to get rid of the middle part, and we'll just say that he wants to raise the four dragons. So we have some big steps here. So I think that's kind of cool. And some of those like, the quest that this is the value of doing this sort of focus on villain, like, well, who are the big villains in your campaign? Who are the big fronts? What are the three? This is right out of Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master. What are the three? What are their goals? And then what steps are they following through to follow through on those goals? What are they doing to follow through on those goals? And I think that that's a valuable exercise to remind you what the horizon looks like in the campaign that you're running. And a lot of times you can take pieces of these and then drop them directly into the next session that you're running. So it still has value in that. What's the next session that we're running? So our strong start today, however, that's all great. We're thinking about these big dragons and their empires, but you got a game that's going to happen in like 3 hours. And we need to make sure that they're less than 3 hours, 2.5 hours. So what do we want to have happen first? And we're going to have facing the Gray Thirster, who sucks all the moisture out of the characters. Big exclamation mark on that. Scenes, Gray Thirster. The characters are 4th level, I think. I'm pretty sure they're 4th level now in our monsters. So if we have 3 4th level characters, that's 12. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So the lazy encounter benchmark is 3. That means we can have up to about 3 CRs worth of monsters before things get really dangerous. That's if we have 3. If we have 4, then it goes up to 4. That's handy, right? Yeah, this is another, if you want like an even easier way to do the encounter benchmark. I don't know if it's that much easier. I was thinking about this. I don't know if this really works. Instead of worrying about the divide by 4, divide by 2, if you kind of assume, well, it doesn't really work. It's because the lazy encounter benchmark, one of the nice things that the lazy encounter benchmark does is it accounts for the number of characters, right? It accounts for there are 4 variables that are all included in the lazy encounter benchmark, and it accounts for all 4 variables with one math equation. I think that's one reason why it's so valuable, and that's the number of characters, the level of the characters, the number of monsters, and the CRs of those monsters. And a cool thing is all of those can be mixed up. You could have different level characters, you can have different levels, different CRs of monsters, and it have different ranges of the number of monsters compared to the number of characters. And the lazy encounter benchmark accounts for all of that. The lazy encounter benchmark is, of course, that in order to figure out whether or not an encounter might be deadly, you add up all of the character levels, all the levels of all the characters that are going to be in your game. You divide that number by 4 if they're level 4 or below, or you divide it by 2 if they are 5th level or above. And that gives you a benchmark. And that benchmark CR, that tells you what's the maximum CR before encounters might become deadly, right? And it's not a budget. I don't treat it the same way like the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide does. It's a gauge. It's a loose gauge, not a hard line. So it gives you a general idea of how many CRs you think the characters might be able to deal with before things could get rough. You get to define what rough means for you. Different systems, different characters, different players, stuff. All sorts of other variables can affect how rough that is, but it works pretty well. And what I was thinking of is you could almost remove the divide by 4 and just say the lazy encounter benchmark is the average of character levels, level 1 to 4, or twice the average character levels, 5 and above. And that would assume you have 4 characters, right? If you assume you have 4 characters, then it's equal to their character level. Yes, it's equal to their character level, or twice their character level if they're 5th level or above. That's not bad, right? But that doesn't account for the number of characters. So there would be the same number whether you have 3 characters or 5 characters or 7 or 6 characters. So there's so much variance in the number of characters because the number of characters you have has not a quadratic, has a triangular, I forget what they call it. Math has a term. It's not exactly an exponential boost. It's not a quadratic boost. But it's a triangular equation that essentially they are, 1.5 times more valuable than they were when you have a number of characters. because you have action synergies that you wouldn't normally have. So in other words, this is a really nerdy way. When you have 5 characters, the group overall is more than just 20% better. It's more like 25 or 30% better. If you lower that, it gets even worse. That if you go from 4 to 3 to 2 characters, they are much more vulnerable than just the subtraction of 2 characters. That the action economy has a big effect on that. And I think it's called a triangular. There's a name for it. It's like a triangular curve or something like that. Essentially, it's more than linear, right? The effect is more than linear in both directions. And if you were to just say the average that monster CR benchmark is roughly equal to the average character levels, you're not accounting for that. That was really long and boring. So we have a Great Thirster battle. Then entering the pit of unending thirst. Goal. What's their goal? Rescue the goblin artificer and recover. She's a mechanist, I think. And recover the puzzle box. That's their goal. We want to name the puzzle box. We want to put a little bit of lore around the puzzle box. I also need to remember the name of the goblin mechanist. I know I have it in my last week's notes. But that's what they're doing in this area. This is why they're going down there. And really, they're just... they're entering the pit of unending thirst. They're going to crawl through it. We're going to learn some stuff. And there probably is going to be like a final confrontation in there. But their goal, we want to reiterate the goal. And we want to make sure the goal is clear to the players, because it's been a couple weeks. They're going to forget why they're there. They'll be like, why are we going through here? And it matters, like, how do they fight everything in it or whatever. So that's what we've got. I'm gonna look back through my last session notes because I had the name. So Sister Athelia of Hune was seeking the puzzle cube. And in our goal... we are going to put rescue Sister Athelia. But I want to do something fun with the puzzle cube, right? I want to like who's puzzle cube? And I'm stealing the puzzle cube right out of Hellraiser. It can never go wrong stealing from Hellraiser, because it is both a puzzle cube and is a key to a portal, and it's got all that kind of fun stuff. So we'll probably tie it to some demonic, some kind of demonic thing would be fun. In fact, we could go do that right now. So let's go to our Midgard book and let's go to Dark Gods. Actually, we have it in our, let me check something else out. Because I have a faction list here. And so I created this big faction list. I really wonder, one thing I want to see is like, can I print this out on a single page? It's a lot of stuff, so I doubt it. But let me give it a shot. If I go to export to PDF, and this time we are going to downscale it to like 75 because I think it's not going to work. And we're going to open that up. I would love to be able to print this thing. Oh, it's 2 pages. It's a great big thing. It's 2 pages even at 75. So I'll have to make it a 2-page. I'll have to make a 2-page thing. But we'll worry about that later. So I have this big faction list, and the value of this faction list is I can kind of roll on it in different ways to get different things. I have the gods of the Dragon Empire, the Southern gods. So it might be So it could be a puzzle box of Takar. That could be kind of fun. We'll take a look at Takar. I kind of like a sinister god though. But maybe this could be a Nikishi, the one who knows the path, the two-faced god and a patron of gnolls. What if it was of both? Right? What if the puzzle box actually had both? And it sort of used the balance between. Let's take a look at Takar. This is on Southlands, page 248. I have my Southlands book already. Look at me, I did my homework. And we'll go to 2. Guardian of the Gates, Death, Life, and War. That sounds pretty good. Takar is a Marshal of War officer among the Watchmen and Keeper of the Law. So mostly a soldier class. So when they say the gates, they don't mean like portals. But they call him the Farseer. And Laughing Nikishi is 258. Is that Southlands? Yeah, Southlands 258. So here's our dark gods. Let's take a quick look through them. We have Apostles, Crocodiles, Lizard Folk, Abriac, who we already talked about, Balhotep, Dragon, Justice, Tempest, the Hunter, Laughing Nikishi, Darkness, Hunger, and Trickery, Mot, Death, Justice, and War, Nakresh, Knowledge, Speed, and Trickery, Selket, Cats, Death, Hunting, and Life, Set, Darkness, Prophecy, Tempest, and Vermin, and the White Goddess. I mean, so we could, I kind of like the idea. I think this is what we're going to do. The puzzle box is said to be an artifact of, and what did I say that was? I got to go back to my other notes. of Takar, Guardian of the Gates, used to transfer soldiers across the lands. But secretly, the puzzle box is an artifact of Laughing Nakishi, the Laughing Darkness. It occurs to me we may have too many gods because the location itself, I think I made it was like an altar of Thoth Hermes or something like that. And I'm packing too many, like if I've got like Takar and Nakishi and I've got Vardazane is in here, and then the temple itself, like, and then Selket is like the assassins that want the box are another god. It's too many gods. So I probably want to tighten these up a bit here. So the location itself, yeah, it was to Thoth Hermes. So let's take a look at Thoth Hermes, and we'll say that the puzzle box is from Thoth Hermes. So let me go to my faction list here again, and Thoth Hermes is somewhere on here. Wise God of Knowledge. Yeah. So this idea that the puzzle box is of Thoth Hermes, an artifact of Thoth Hermes, and Thoth Hermes is God of Knowledge and Learning, patron of scholars and thieves. That's pretty cool. Grab that and throw that in there. Cut some of these. God of Knowledge and Learning. We get rid of Creator of the Emerald Tablets. So that could be interesting because that means that the Emerald Order could be involved. So we have another faction we could throw in here. Do we want to have that secretly the puzzle box is an artifact of Laughing Nakishi? I don't think so. I think we're going to cut that one. Man, so we spent like a half an hour on one secret. What else do we need? So the temple was used by scholars and sages of what's the name of the Kandaharians? They delved at the time of their defeat. Let's see. I think I have this in my secrets from last time, so let's grab a bunch of these secrets. Well, this is how you don't do a half hour per secret, is you steal the ones you already did. So we will bring these over, and we'll take a look at them. Kukatar was ravaged by blood magic of the Kandaharians, who used it to defend themselves against the Dragon Empire. Yes, beneath it, Midgard of Thoth Hermes is a red portal missing a key. The puzzle box is the key. Yes, puzzle box is in two parts. One part is held by the goblin. The other part is held in the pit of unending thirst, which is why the goblin went down there. The puzzle box also imprisons a demon bound by the Kandaharians to fight the dragon to fight dragons of the Empire. The Sanguine Path seeks the puzzle box to unbind this demon so it can serve them. Another secret is the Sanguine Path was hired by, who did we say? Oh, by agents who seeks necromantic power. Thoth Hermes is the god of knowledge, learning, wise, creative language, lord of the things, patron of magocracy, patron of the magocracy of Elaine. That's pretty good. The Lord of Unending Thirst was worshipped by Kandaharians who sought the Lord's connection to a blood and hunger as a source of magical power. Purple worm with tentacle tongues of skulls. That's pretty cool. Adasha is the Padash of the Flaming City, Moors of the East, Heart of the Desert. We already did that. Fiery Presence, Great Desert. We did that. Some believe Adasha wants to turn the entire world. Yeah. Other priests feel that Athelia's work to unlock the red portal is sacrilegious. Yeah, so I think we'll keep that because I did bring that, and we talked about that last time. The applied portal magic, how low class. So, and we have Athelia, Sister Athelia, Goblin Sage of Hewn. So fantastic locations. I don't think we need to worry about this because it's all going to be dungeon delving. So we won't worry about that. But let's take a look at the map. And I had done some homework on this before. Let's see, let's open Reveal and Finder. Drop it down here. So the ruined shrine of Anu Akma, also known as the Pit of Unending Thirst. And it's this multi-level sort of place. And I like that it's got a little side view too, so I can use that side view when I'm drawing it up. First battle is going to be here. It's going to be, they're going to face probably some zombies and a Grey Thirster. Like a Grey Thirster and 3 zombies would probably be pretty good. Then level 2, what do we have? Doors of Hunger, I wrote. That could be kind of interesting. Urns of the Sated. I think that is what I wrote. Oh, let's see. I was on the wrong one. Altar of the Sickle. Priestly statues. The Pits of Judgment. I don't know what that says. Something tombs. Caretaker's tombs. That's what that is. I shouldn't have written it a Sharpie. Urns of the Sated. Halls of Screams. Doors of Hunger, Bone Ichor, Lesser Library, Spirits of Hunger, the Artifact Vault, Tomb of the High Priest is at the end. So that's kind of the levels of this place. And this is a definite, like we can move the MacGuffin. I think I've already got this printed out. I'm pretty sure I've already got it printed out upstairs, so I'm not going to bother to print it. I can always print it if I need it. So that gives me some ideas like that. You know, I'm giving myself enough prompts to be able to improvise. I have to trust in my ability to improvise based on these 1 or 2 word descriptions of this place. And do I feel that it's enough right now? No. Will I feel it is enough at the table? Maybe. We'll find out. But I think so. Because, you know, we can use these as secrets and everything else. If we go back to our notes, some other NPCs. So I think I want to have, I'm going to whip up a quick random name here. Because I want to have 2 other named NPCs. Vincent Blackspell. Let's see. Vincent Blackspell, who is a cult fanatic of the Sanguine Path. And then we're going to have Dakima Wildflower. Let's see. And Vincent is a dwarven cult fanatic, the Sanguine Path. And Decima is an elf. It's not really like that. I forget the elves are weird in Midgard. I'll have them be a celestial touched prisoner of the Black Venom Knolls who's trapped down here in the vaults. So that looks good. Now I want to have a list of like the monsters that are down here. I can't remember if I made a list already of this. I think I did. I look at that. I did. Yay. Thank you, Past Mike Shea. Saved me some time. So I hadn't gotten there yet, but I already made a list of monsters. Skeletons, dehydrated zombies, gray thirsters, gray oozes, specters of former blood mages, wounded explorers, guardian animated armors with bird heads, and blood shadows. That could be fun. And we'll drop in some treasure. I'm going to go to my random treasure generator. This looks good. Private Sanctum. What is that? I don't know if that's a Kobold Press spell or not. We'll say Tiny Hut. An Abyssal Aberrant Ring that casts Tiny Hut. That sounds pretty lame. I want a different spell. Imprisonment. Oh, wow, look at this. Imprisonment is a 9th level spell. Casting time is 1 minute. I think, so this is kind of that nuclear bomb that you can hand to the characters. What if they got an Abyssal Ring of Imprisonment and it can cast the spell once? Range is 30 feet. You have to see a creature within 30 feet and take a minute to cast it. And the wisdom save, we'll say it could be a DC 18. Right? Pretty high for a wisdom save. I kind of like this. So they could cast Imprisonment once. And it's kind of tied to the demon that's in the ring. I think that's pretty cool. And then a Stone of Hill Giant Strength and a Stone of Good, or Potion of Hill Giant Strength and a Stone of Good Luck. Sound like some good treasure. So what demon is bound here? If I wanted to get truly, what's it called? Hellraiser, I could do a Chain Devil. Let's take a look at the devils. I think it will be a devil, a big devil. So higher than CR. I think Chain Devils are CR. That would be pretty cool, right? And the Chain Devil Unnerving Mask. That's pretty cool. I like this. I think it's a Chain Devil. And so now we need a name. Go back to my name generator. Kaitili. And then what god does this Chain Devil come from? Probably one of the real powerful gods. So let's go here to dark gods. Not Boreas, Chernobog, murderers, hags, dragons, go to the woods, the hunter, Mammon, merchants and the greedy. I don't know if it'd be any of these gods. Let's go to our Southlands, dark gods. Not Baal-Hotep, probably not the hunter. Probably not Laughing Nikishi. Mot, Prince of Necromancers. Yeah, here we go. It's a god of Mot. Kaitili of Mot. Chain Devil, bound by the puzzle cube. So the Kandarians bound a devil of Mot named Kaitili into the puzzle box, hoping to use it and other devils as weapons against the dragons, but never got the chance. So I think we have, let's see, we have this, we can delete that one. So that's pretty cool. And this abyssal ring that casts Imprison was used to bind it in the first place and has one charge left in it. So I think that's pretty cool. All right. Do I have enough? Is that everything I need? All the steps are there. I'm pretty good with my fantastic locations, which wasn't listed here. But I feel pretty good about the rest of this. I got my strong start. I know the characters. You got some exploring they can do, some treasures they can discover, lore they can learn, things they can fight. I think we're all set. So I'm going to print this. This one I can probably do at 85. Let's try 85 and see. Ooh, I got even more room to 90. Perfect. Print that out. Got my notes for the game. 1 page of notes. Enough for me to go. And I've got my map upstairs, and I think I'm all set. Friends, I want to thank all of you for hanging out with me today while we prepared for my game. If you enjoyed this show and you want to see more stuff like this, the best way to do so is to subscribe to the Sly Flourish newsletter. There is a link down in the show notes. It's absolutely free to sign up. You get a free adventure generator for signing up that includes a micro version of 5e you can run with some friends, and you get a weekly RPG-related article sent directly to your inbox. You can also support me directly on Patreon. Patrons get access to all kinds of tips, tricks, tools, accessories, exclusive podcasts, new scenarios for City of Arches, all kinds of stuff that you get for being a patron of Sly Flourish, and it is very reasonably priced. You also get access to the Lazy GM community over on Discord, and you help me put on shows like this. And you can pick up any of my books, including Return of the Lazy Dungeon Master, the Lazy DM's Workbook, Lazy DM's Companion, and others at the Sly Flourish bookstore. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and get out there and play an RPG.